Good afternoon. Welcome to the talk show, Corner of Strandon and Spondo Street. And I'm your host, BULANI. What a privilege and honor it is to experience the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Good afternoon. Once again, I'd like you to share, like, comment. We'd like to hear your views. Today's topic, we are talking about education transforming the community. You know, we have a doctor and I might say advocate in a way. A counselor, yes, but I know you studied law, correct? Okay. Okay. I would like you to introduce yourself to the viewers at home.
Thank you very much, Dimpo. I welcome your invitation. Thanks.
Yeah.
My name is Luzoko.
Yeah.
That is my surname. I am a ward councillor here in Nelson Mandela Bay.
Okay.
In a ward called Ward 28.
Ward 28.
That Fear Plus is with the end. What we call is Nyok.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I am a member of the ANC.
Okay.
I'm deployed by the ANC as a ward.
Okay.
In that ward. So yeah, I also serve in the structures, the youth structures of the ANC League. In the region, I'm elected as a regional chairperson of this region for the African National Congress Youth League.
Wow.
Thank you very much, Dimpo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dimpo. Mina ndingulungelwa MAHANJANA, ndingowaseQonce but ndilapha eBhayi ngokuhlala. I'm a scientist by profession.
Okay.
I'm also a lecturer. No, not a lecturer assistant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I so wish Namding has introduced her with so much boldness. Isn't it beautiful? I would just like, just before we start, we know we are talking about education for community transformation and equipping our young leaders, equipping the leaders of tomorrow through education. So I would just like you to tell me, what is the motivation behind what you are doing, because you are here for a reason. So just before we start talking about externals, let's just take it to internals. Yes, you can.
No, it so happens that I'm called or I'm defined as a born free.
Okay.
Yeah, so meaning I was born post 1994.
Oh, okay.
So we are one of those who said there's nothing free about post 1994.
Yeah.
Because economically we are still oppressed or we are still under oppression. So I joined the struggle, I joined activism. I became an activist just to resolve that question of economical struggle.
Okay.
So we could not sit back and allow a condition where it deprived us from prosperity.
Yeah.
As black people.
Yeah.
Because what we attained in 1994 was only political freedom, the right to go and vote each and every 5 years.
Yeah.
The right to go to Summerstrand, interracial marriages, zongezana.
Yeah.
But Tina, the struggle that we are waging is that of economic freedom.
Yeah.
Which is the organization I said I'm leading in the region. In 2011, drafted a program that said economic freedom in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Since formation, the ANC Youth League drafted a program that said freedom in our lifetime.
Okay.
So which was attained in 1994. So we've defined our own trajectory and our own mission as this current generation of born frees.
Yeah.
To say we are fighting for economic freedom in our lifetime. Yeah, that's what drove me to what I'm doing now.
What you're doing now. You know, we know you have a PhD in chemistry, correct? We would like to know the motive behind that.
Okay. So, growing up, I wanted to be a medical doctor.
Yeah.
But I was raised by my grandmother, so she was the motivation behind me wanting to be a medical doctor. But unfortunately, when I was in grade 11, she passed away. So the motivation was no longer there.
No longer there.
Like even grade 12, I didn't do too well to qualify to even, go to such a university to study medicine. So being motivated, because I've always been motivated because ndifuna ufunda.
Yeah.
My mother had me at the age of 15, so she didn't have the opportunity to go further with her studies.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I don't want to take the same path, so ndifuna ufunda ndide ndifundele nomamam.
Yeah.
Yabo. So I, fortunately at the time, I had because my uncle was just coming out of university as a medical doctor. So he did I forgot this word, but oh my goodness, like he came to ComServe.
Okay,
so he did ComServe yake up at Dora. So I was exposed to him and I was exposed to his books. So once I saw what the course entailed, I was like, okay, no, I'm not going there. But then I said, okay, fine, let me try pharmacy. And then I couldn't, because my results were so bad for grade 12, so I couldn't get into a pharmacy as well. So unfortunately, at the time, the Nelson Mandela University had e-programs for science.
Yeah.
So they put me program foundation phase. So I did, and I was also motivated by the fact that high school I didn't have a lab. We didn't have a proper lab. So I also wanted to be a lab, to do chemistry physically, not just through books.
Yeah.
And then I got into the program, and then from the program, tried again to apply for pharmacy, but couldn't get in again. And then they put me what they call analytical chemistry.
Yeah.
You become a technician, so your life you work in the lab. So once I started getting there, I started saying, okay, actually, I wanted to be a pharmacist, and there's a section apha chemistry that is known as organic chemistry. So it's related to, it's not related, but you study, like people that are doing pharmaceutics, you deal with into medication and stuff. So I was like, okay, fine, let me take this route. And then I studied until I got the opportunity to do my PhD. And fortunately for my PhD, I got the opportunity to study medicinal plants for pharmaceutical purposes.
Yeah.
So what motivated me initially is because ndanifuna imfundo.
Yeah.
Right? Ndanifuna imfundo, and I wanted to break away from land yokuthi, because ekhaya, unfortunately my uncles, they couldn't go further than abo N eskolweni.
Yeah.
And my one aunt, who was a mistress, passed away in 1996. So we were still battling with land. Okay, fine, kwisizukulwana, we have to fight and break la nto yoba, okay, fine, apha kule indlu akuzophuma zifundiso.
Yeah.
So it was another reason to say, okay, I will be the sheep izozinikezele kufundeni, so that thing is broken. The generations that come after me vele ziyazi ezalapho ukuthi kuyafundwa. So that was the motivation behind
breaking generational curses.
Breaking generational
Wow, isn't that beautiful? But in the end, ithande ngento yokuba at times xa sicinga thina sizenzela for thina, not understanding ukuthi we are equipping and changing our communities through education. So I have this question about how can academic institutions better or equip youth with skills to solve community challenges?
Okay. To answer the question, I think you and I can agree that it's a bit broad.
Yeah, it is.
In the sense that, I'm sure my colleague will agree.
Yeah.
In the sense that academic institutions, mandate yabo kanye their primary aim is to equip Udimpo, who comes and says, I want to be the best broadcaster in the Bay.
Yeah.
And they say, okay, fine, we have a program academically that serves Udimpo, right? But ukumbule, universities, the minute you step, you need to know why am I doing this?
Yeah.
You want to do broadcasting because you want to be the best in the Bay. So uwaye wako so nai.
Yeah.
And then they say, because another thing that we tend to forget is that mandate yazo is to equip you so that you can compete with abanye abantu globally. So mind yabo ayikho just with the community. So with that being said, there's a lot that the university can do.
Yeah.
There's a lot that academic institutions are doing.
Yeah.
But it's just that when we send abantwana bethu, we need to send them with why.
Yeah.
Especially, that means now we have to come back to the community, and that's where ukansela funeka angene khona.
Yeah.
Apho funeka abantwana sibanike why.
Yeah.
Funeka bejonge i-community yabo, so that when we send them to university, already sebe know why. Secondly, there's an office in academic institutions that we know as the engagement office.
Yeah.
Those are the offices that deal with izinto ezidibene no communities.
Yeah.
So I can't say right now ukuthi an academic institution can do this and that and that and that, because it's already doing so much.
Yeah.
But the gap is now us from the communities to say, this is what we need from you. This is why we're sending our kids to you, and this is what we need. Otherwise, we want capacity to say we can assist econ. Yes.
Wow. Would you like to add on that, Councillor?
Mine are slightly different.
Yeah.
You have to transform the education system.
Yeah.
How do you transform an education system? Our education system currently, at its outlook, is designed in a manner that it produces workers and not owners.
Okay.
Or employers.
Okay.
It produces employees. So you have to change, you have to transform that.
Yeah.
Because now you are dealing with a question of unemployment.
Yeah.
There are no jobs in the market.
Yeah.
So for the graduates that we're producing from these TVETs and universities,
yeah,
they should be able to be their own employers, such that they go back to their communities and employ others. So there's nothing stops. I don't know why in Eastern Cape you would have universities that do not offer agricultural and farming studies or courses.
Yeah.
Because in the Eastern Cape, you have a wealthy land.
Yeah.
A land for grazing. You have land for farming.
Yeah.
You have everything. So we have to utilize our resources.
Yeah.
The type of courses that are offered in these institutions should be industrial aligned. So it can't be that we all go to university. I like the question you raised, by the way, when we started. That am I studying law? Have I done law? Have I done what?
Yeah.
I went to university. I studied Bachelor's of Arts.
Okay.
You go there. You are bankrupt. You know nothing.
Yeah.
I chose political science, sociology, and English language studies.
Yeah.
As my majors.
Yeah.
You go out of university. You don't know who's going to employ you. Yeah. Universities are giving us courses that are not relevant to the market demands, such that you have today unemployed graduates.
Yeah.
That's why you are saying TVETs must rise.
Yeah.
Because TVETs are now giving you skills, practical skills, that speak and respond to the questions of the industrial demands.
Would you like to add on that, Doctor?
Yes, I would like to add on that. My brother, I think uyalibala ukuthi within the Eastern Cape we have, in terms of agriculture and stuff, we have indawo kokuthiwa Fort Scocks. It was an institution eyayifundisa amafama nabalimi and all of that. I think kula macala oMaxisi Alice.
Okay.
I remember I was talking to someone a few weeks back, and we mentioned the Fort Cox. And a comment yakhe was like, unfortunately, Fort Cox, I say Fort Cox. Because of ABCDEFG, right? Isn't the baby's mentioned about. Also, we have projects within the Eastern Cape that deal with izinto zofama.
Yeah.
And secondly, if I'm not mistaken, the Nelson Mandela University has the highest in a course. I think it's an advanced program, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Agriculture, I think campus here is at George. We have a program, and it's the biggest program that we have in South Africa, of Abantu, Yamafama. I forgot the name. It's called agricultural something. So I think maybe what my brother is trying to say is that we Abantu must university, they know why. because if uthina kwalapha ekuqaleni efoundation siyamfundisa ukuthi umntana kuyalinywa, then they'll be motivated. We have to teach abantwana bethu, which is what she mentioned before about transformation. But ukhumbula transformation does not ayiqali esikolweni, because esikolweni uhamba nge-mandate yesixeko. So if South Africa ine-mandate ethile, but wena, it's your responsibility ekhayeni to teach umntana and instill the values ukuthi, okay, number one, ungumntu funeka ukwazi uzimela. So meaning that usufundela uyophangela, zifundela uzivusele yakho into. And I think we are seeing beautiful things with the younger generation where they bavusi businesses zabo. It's either nails, it's either zinwele, but the fact is bayazivusi businesses. They might not be relevant to maybe economy as on a larger scale, but the thing is in mind yabo, it's there. But now the question is, how do we cultivate those minds now? Ukuthi xa besiye university bakwazi ubuya back, baplawe back, because ingqondo iqalwa phi asokwazi batshintshe university. Because you must also remember as I mentioned before, mandate, ne values, ne missions at an academic level, be your TVET, be your colleges, be your staff, does not cater to just, it caters to at a worldwide level. That's why I find sometimes ufumanisa ukuthi xa ukhalaza wena ukuthi I understand why universities abanabantu abayi 5 million izabacaterisha njani, but ufumanisa ukuthi if abantwana bebe bayi 500 ngebephumelela, because imandate yabo ayikho ku 500 ku 5 million. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know you want to add something, ne? I would just want to quickly ask, do you agree with the point that he has raised, yokuba universities zi-equipa abantu abazoba zi-employees, not employers? What is your take on that?
Like I said before, when you go to endow, there are so many people. Ingqondo zethu asizivuli.
Yeah.
Abantwana bethu asibafundisa ukuthi mabafike e-university bavule ingqondo.
Yeah.
For instance, as universities, kukho abantu abamhlophe, kukho abantu amandiya, kukho abantu abangama-10. But if you would check, because abanye, but they grew up with a mentality of uba iskill ndiyasithatha ndozisebenzela into yami. Abantwana bethu, abantwana bezinye inhlanga baphuma ezikolweni bayomanage businesses zakomakwabo, bayomanage business ezikhoyo, but abethu abantwana because akho nto sibanika yona. You understand? Right now we are sitting in a country where funding cannot accommodate dreams and visions zabantwana. So sizawuthi mabayovula business, business. So my brother is not wrong, but the question thina siyenzile foundation ukuthi abantwana xa bebuya apha mababuyele kuyo na.
Would you like to add on that?
No, thank you very much. No, I have to some levels of, because there is no disagreement here, none whatsoever. But one thing we have to correct on my sister is to say, you can't compare black and white and other races in universities. There is a class question unto it. You get a Luzuko Peter who's from Fear Plus.
Yeah.
His mom is a domestic worker. My father passed on when I was 2 years.
Yeah.
And then you get a John, his parents, they own farms, and others are owning factories or any other businesses. The mandate John has, go to university, go and get a simple business course at 2nd Avenue. You are going to come back and be a CEO of this company. A Luzuko Peter does not have that opportunity, does not have that luxury. Things that are happening to me, I see as luxury. To John, I necessity. Now, you can't necessarily compare and say our people from Fear Plus compared to others in other places. They go to universities not understanding. They do not. There's a class question unto it, and it goes to and it speaks about the privileges that one has. So, secondly, you don't just. I get what my sister is saying about the university and all the opportunities that she says exist in university.
Yeah.
But post that, what then becomes the program of government in supporting those who say, I want to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I want to own this land. I want to buy and purchase this farm. What becomes the role? They do not get support. That is the point we're trying to raise here. We are not necessarily critiquing universities. We are speaking broadly about issues that face this country and this republic. Hence, we are saying now, the education system, if it had a proper and clear program as to it produces an alupeli who now will be trained to own or to manufacture a car. By the way, we don't want to be, some of us don't want to be workers of Volkswagen. We want to manufacture cars and be returned at the back, alupeli mgoduka. So we have to take accountability, not as a because the university, by its design, they were designed to create a laborers, not necessarily owners. That we can't shy away from. Yes, I get the fact that you would have, but all of those farming and agricultural programs that were designed, most of them have collapsed. And you don't only talk about education system starting from university level. I said here, I think there was one school, I think in Alexandria, because I'm also from there, Ukanya, it taught agricultural studies. But how can you teach agriculture as a theory? Hence, I spoke about the quality of the education you are getting. You have to mix theory with practice, because I have to be taught what is to graze the land, how to plant, how to make profit, how to make final products, and after you have planted and have owned this farm, what are you going to do? How are you going to integrate yourself with the markets? Because the next thing we don't want here is for us to own lands, all of us, and then we have we have these gardens, all of us.
Yeah.
We get garbages, we get all these things, but we don't know where to sell. We are not going to eat all that food.
Yeah.
That's why I said the education system must and be able to equip us to know as to what is going to happen after getting this qualification.
Wow. Would you like to add that before we move?
Yeah, but I'm scared that plan is over the discussion.
Yeah.
We have to be cognizant of the fact that when you put us in a classroom, there's no class there. We do the same syllabus, we do the same curriculum, I meant to say. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
The expectations is there too, are the same. The points is there to class pull up are the same. Hence, I'm saying my point is to go back, because I hated gardening. Unfortunately, a high school there was a program that was set. It was a class near class in period and because of my experience back home, yes, but so it was like it taught those things it's some, that's why that abantu xa bethetha baye bathi competition namaxesha akudala balibala ukuthi izinto okudala zazisenziwa differently because umakhulu wayenegadi elima amayeza akhe, umakhulu wayengayothenga eshop xa efuna amayeza, wayekhe egadini akhe aphekele umntana anike umntana asela amayeza. So hence ipoint yam, I'm agreeing with what my brother is saying, but mna eyami point it masiqale kwi-foundation so that abantwana bathi be-entarisha pha at this academic institution ba-entarisha beyazi ukuthi bayothini pha. Yabo. And also because ingxaki is that and because I've been exposed to abantu in academics abaninzi. I've seen people abaphuma ezikolweni babe consultants. Umuntu abene degree kwi-analytical chemistry, but because ingqondo yakhe uzixelela ukuthi I cannot work a lab, but afumanisa igap ukuthi okay, there's someone apho uthengisa instrument ethile, there's a company apho esebenzisa instrument ethile, let me be the middleman. Be consultant. Man consulted between law na law. That's my business. So it means that Lando, it's not something that you can be taught at university, because Ukumbula University, like for instance, analytical chemistry, you have 2 years. You have 3 years. You do 2 years in 1 year, 2 levels, in 1 year, and then the 3rd year they prepare you to go your sevens. So there's no account, but there's also short courses that you can do the business so that you can empower your mind. That's the word I was looking for. I think we need to empower abantwana bethu ukuthi mabacinge out of the box. Noba umuntu ufuna ufunda lonto ayifunda, but they must be able to think out of the box and also identify gaps within the spaces around bona.
Wow, profound. Yes, and I think from what I'm observing,
Yes.
it's just how nibeka ngakhona. So I would like you to add on that.
No, just one line.
Yeah.
It would be disingenuous of us to want to compare students that go independent electoral board. No. Examining board, IEB, that attend to IEB with students that go to NSC, National Senior Certificate. One, the class question also exists there. They also gonna reflect on the outcome of the results, metric results, for instance. I'm saying you have a class, NSC, Kwamatlak High School in Zondelelo, Kwezilomso. You have more than 40 learners who are taught by one teacher. You go to IEB, you get less. It's maximum of, they say 30. You can't go beyond that. Already you can see there are structural contradictions that exist between the two. So you can't then on the eve of election, on the day of results, want to compare these people, both of them, who were coming from NSC and others were coming from IEP. So that is where the class question even exists, even on results. That is the point we're raising. They exist everywhere. The class question will always find expression, as long as we interact as humankind.
Wow. Profound. Let me take this time, whether you're watching from home, you just tuned in. Kindly note, we're at corner of Strandale, Spondo Street. The name of the church is Penal Fellowship. Namhlanje sithetha about education and community transformation. Ndinento ebuza endifuna uyibuza, since we mention empowerment, and I see that we are mentioning that a lot, just theta empowerment. Now let us break it down a bit. I want us to touch on social empowerment. How can we promote that communities zethu?
She used a lot of empowerment when she
I started on the last one. Okay. Let me be an example.
Yeah.
To empower abantu baseKhlaleni.
Yeah.
One, I come from elalini kwaMdinki location. Number two, ndifunde eMgqakhwebe primary.
Yeah.
I want you to listen. Emgqakhwebe, ne? High school yam ndiyenze Amantinde Senior Secondary School.
Okay.
All right? Came to Nelson Mandela University. I have a PhD now in chemistry.
Yeah.
But where do I come from? I come from elalini, ndifunde kwizikolo zikaXhoxhoxho.
Yeah.
There was no twang in my English. If there is some go, it's because maybe I've been exposed, to this institution and, certain people that I got some type of a twang.
Yeah.
English, I remember my uncle used to give me newspapers and say, funda nazi newspapers, ne magazine. Magazines sasingazibuki kuba sifuna uzibuka. And there was a game we used to play, ukhangelo 10, ukhangelo 1, magazines, because we were trying to empower ourselves.
Yeah.
So when we talk about social empowerment, and fortunately, we cannot run away from the fact that it's not the same.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the same as the urban. I'm going to refer this the rural and the urban areas. I'm not sure if the urban areas had the same thing where even otishara were being, kukhola motivation. Uyazi ngoJanuary nangoJune after holidays to say thank you for taking care of abantwana bethu. Thank you for empowering abantwana bethu by being here. Because ukhumbula umsebenzi kaMiss, it's not only classing, but xa kubona pha ekubona okay ikhona into nayo uyathetha nawe. So I think another thing, we need to celebrate abantwana bethu, because I think that's another thing that we've missed in communities zethu. I hope I'm still in the same thing. We need to encourage abantwana bethu, because they're exposed to so many things.
Yeah.
There's the internet, there is izinto that are around them abazibona right.
Yeah,
And if usifuna baqhubekeke nemfundo, we need to motivate them.
Yeah,
Even when, because it's so sad, because uyakwazi ufumanisa ukuthi umuntu ungumzali unabantwana bakhe, but is going to speak bad about umntana wase next door.
Yeah.
Is going to call umntana wase next door ukuthi slow, sistenke, and all of those things. So lamntana, you're not empowering them, uyabanyathela,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Uzosicapukela isikolo. So education is impact njani. So I think socially we need to be a community or a society that motivates, that sees okuhle. Even umntana if uyambona ba kodwa boy, but
Yeah.
you encourage that kid ukuthi, you know, because we used to have that done.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, even if ilanga lishushu ubuya esikolweni ulambile, you would meet umzali be like, no, ngenye imini
Yeah.
uzozibona fruits of lento, yabo. So we need to be a community that motivates abantwana bethu.
I love what you just mentioned now. Even noba ingathi yinto encinci, but iye ifike yenza umehluko ebomini bomntu, because siye singabona ukhumbule ukuthi ba ndihamba ngenyawo, but ngemini ethile ndaphiwa isihlangu ngumama othile, so laa nto iyamotivate umntu. I would like you to also just add on what we le nto yokuba i-social empowerment, ba as a councillor, what is your role to make sure that there's social empowerment in your community?
So from my observation is that one, we have to identify where is the problem. The problem we have as a community located in the townships is that our young people, our youth, they do not have role models. They don't have role models. They only see role models in TV, where there will be music, popping champagne, young children or young girls dressed in 3-centimeter skirts, all those things. They see that as the life that they want to live.
Yeah.
And they go to their communities and look around. Ubutbani, that is a gangster. At least lives a life that is closer to what I see on TV. Whereas Uluzuko Peter is living a boring life, calling meetings, trying to get who's this and that and that. So we have to fix first the psyche of the community. Because whatever you see on the community exists in the mind of the young ones. Then how do you do that? We have to first deal with the question of conscience. We have to first conscientize young people on what is right and wrong. They have to be able to know that distinction.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are things that they cannot be taught at school. Even if you go to their households or to their homes, you would find out that this kid is raised by an absent father. Or probably they are heading a household as children at their homes. So there is that gap, there's that void. That cannot be even filled by social development, by the way. Now, we have to, as a community, to go back in our roots. That as black people or as African people, so it can't be normal that as a neighbor, you know the condition of next door, that there are children that are heading household. You have your work, you are working, you are married, you have your own kids, but you are just eating as if there's nothing that is happening next door.
Yeah.
We want to build activists from our communities, such that we resolve, we see the pain that exists on other, or it doesn't have to happen to you or to your children to see it's wrong. Tina, we always fight for social justice rather than social, maybe the rest of empowering and others will follow. But otherwise, in a way to address these issues that I'm talking about, you'll be empowering a community.
Would you like to add on that?
Yeah, just to add on that, I think it also goes back to Lenda Beoba. Imfundo, see, it's individual need or individual accomplishment.
Yeah.
Asisenabo babuntu so good to okay as ubudebe sithuba abasekho abantu bothi okay siyambona umuntu akamabani une-potential yoba angasihlangula apha ecommunity masimthumele esikolweni ayofunda azobuya azosihlangula. We don't have that. So I agree with Ubud.
What he's saying.
I agree fully with what he's saying.
Yeah. Since sithetha educational empowerment, then I would just like us to dwell more, Gulondo. How can we improve educational empowerment in our communities Gengokutina as individuals?
So there are 3 institutions to raise a child. Is the family, the home, church, yes, and also the school. You can't be raising a child that is not in these 3 institutions. There's gonna be a gap, and life will catch up with you when you are old. Even if you are able to make it into becoming successful in life, if you miss church when you were young, some of us, I was attending this church when it was at Government as you know. This church is from Government, this church I'm in now. So I was attending it. So I have that background of attending church. That's where you get moral values from the church. There are things that as a parent you can't do. And there are things that the school can't do. We have to find that these 3 institutions are able to work together and be able to raise a child. That is where that is where my point is.
Fully agree.
You fully agree with that?
As a community, I think, and I think I'm going to go back to saying this, we are failing this generation. Because I think for the longest time, there's no way, absolutely no way, that we don't have successful people about Puma Izwite. For instance, I want to make Izwite as an example. But Tina, goal yet is to get out of Izwite. Say she senjeya. Asinayo la nhliziyo okanye yaphela la nhliziyo yokuthi okay ndifuna ubuya back ndiyothatha nami abanye andizobathatha bonke obviously but at least mandithathe othathe kayahambe. So I fully agree with what Ubudlozuka is saying. We need to come together as a university and as a community and see ukuthi okay, how do we now as stakeholders, how do we bring them together to work for a development okanye up Richmond, something like that. Abantwana abekwi communities zethu. And also we need to paint a picture. Talking about indaba ye education, we need to motivate because it's so sad. It's so sad. I think a few years back there was as programs zojima ezinye bekwi programs zojima abanye bathethele. What I've always ndiyinqande is that umuntu uzathi kwi-statement yakhe athi andifundanga okanye like thina bantu bangafundanga we getting millions okanye sibambi millions abantu abafundileyo like abananiki. That is a very wrong statement and mentality because education is not limited to an academic institution. By the fact that you are exceeding, it means that you are educating yourself. Ukuthi how do I become the best apha ekujimiseni abantu and ndizokwazi uattract abanye abantu? You are educating yourself. So by saying now ukuthi education ayimsebenzeli, the person umntana inengqondo yakhe ngekabikho kule level yakho wena is thinking ukuthi hayi akho need because education is really not limited to isikolo. You know, you educate yourself by ukuzibuilda kulento wena uthi ufuna uyenza. That's education. So so we need and it needs to be clear that education is not limited to institutions. You educate yourself by ukuzi-empowerisha wena self kulento uthi ufuna uyenza so that you can be the best.
Wow. That is profound. Just before siye ku-economic empowerment kwi-communities zethu, I like what you just touched now. Undeza ndicinge something. There was somebody that I was having a conversation with. Did you know what? I'm just thinking of the process of whatsoever, but itibene nesikolo ke lento. Atikum, who goes to school for media? You can go, uyakwazi ukungena kwezi platforms without even wena kuthiwa uba educated. Ngoba nesake sababona apha eBhayi kusithiwa baphume kule institution ithile baphuma baqama. And nento ethi if ibifika kumuntu ongayaziyo okanye ongekho sure ngokuba uhead ephi bizofike imcumzi imbulala amaphupha akhe abuleleke kanjalo. So how do you encourage someone at home othi you know what, I want to go back to school I want to go back to school, but kuphinde kuthiwa hayi nalento uzoyifunda.
Yeah.
Intoni lento ayizukwenzela nto. You can make money quickly because sila generation after imali. So encourage njani umuntu phaa ekhaya?
What is the question again? Because I thought we were making a point.
No.
How do you encourage umuntu ofuna ufunda but uyademotivate ecaleni?
How
do you encourage someone that wants to go back to school but uyademotivatwa from ukubuyela esikolweni?
It goes back to what Sisi was raising.
Yeah.
To say it has to do with an individual.
Yeah.
You have to understand what is the trajectory that you want to take as an individual, as to what you want to achieve in the next 5 years. You can't be an individual that does not have targets.
Yeah.
You can't. Otherwise, you are like headless chicken.
Yeah.
You are just living. Like
Yeah.
anyone. You don't have goals. You don't have plans. You don't have objectives.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you set your targets to say, in the next 6 months, I want to see myself in this position.
Yeah. Yeah.
So whatever efforts and actions that you do will be channeled towards that direction.
Yeah.
Because you know where you want to see yourself in the next 5 years. So ukhona ntethe ithi ungalithatha ihashu semlanjeni balifuna usela
Yeah,
konke
true.
So there's nothing we can preach up until Jesus comes. Otherwise, people will always be relaxing. The individual should take responsibility as well.
Yeah, individual.
That is the point. The individual should take a responsibility.
And to add on that, you have to be selfish ngawe.
Yeah.
You have to be selfish ngawe because umntu might be saying hi but into ethile from a good standpoint.
Yeah.
Ne? But when you have to be selfish ngawe, you have to tell yourself, if I'm taking this decision,
Yeah.
it's going to benefit me now after 6 months.
Yeah.
This is way. Yeah, because omnyum to shem could be coming from a very good place
Yeah.
to say, hi man, but but when before you took that decision, you didn't just wake up and feel like, oh, I'm missing out on advanced whatever, let me go and do it. Yeah, it's something that you sat down and you thought about. So you have to be selfish. Otherwise, if besingekho selfish, ngesingekho apha kule ndawo sikuyo, like honestly.
Profound. Uke wathetha touch on economic. So I ngathi iyagxinisa pha. Ndifuna nje sixelele about economic empowerment.
Unxibe ne-caps
Inxibe yabo i-caps yemali.
No, let's start here, comrades. So I said when I started, I so happened to be called a born free.
Yeah.
Simply because in 1994 we won freedom.
Yeah.
And as the young whites, we've grown to redefine as to what is freedom.
Yeah.
To say political freedom with the absence or without economic freedom is meaningless.
Yeah.
Now, how do you define economic empowerment?
Yeah.
Surely that definition is not enough if it does not talk on who owns property.
Yeah.
On the relations as to property ownership in the country. Surely that definition is not enough. It does not address the structural inequalities that exist in South Africa, as even nationwide, worldwide, even in the whole continent. If it does not address those, how do you address that? Is to be able to say, so and so, because of his or her positionality and their relations to means of production, is a working class, for that matter. So and so, because of their relations to a property, is a bourgeois or is someone that owns, or is someone that is a ruling class, working class and ruling class. Important terms to make. Now, the demographics of the Republic of South Africa would tell you that percentages, maybe 80% of the demographics are African. Certain percentage, 8 to 9, are white people. Chinese 6, colored 6, Indian and Chinese maybe 4, 2, 1. Those are the demographics. But when you talk about economic, the reflection in economy, white people are owning more than 80% of land and of wealth of this country. The wealth beneath the soil and also the farms that we were talking about. So it is a thing that is directed to a particular race because of because of our history of colonization, conquer, and apartheid. We were dispossessed as a class, as a race. Now, for you to deal and empower a certain race, you have to first resolve those structural challenges. That says a certain race is owning so much of our minerals, so much of our land, on top over a majority of our race, which is African. By the way, Africans are owners of this land. So you have to deal with the land question. Now we are saying our idea is in line with what is written in the Freedom Charter, the clause that says South Africa belongs to all who live in land, who live in it. That is number one, agree. Two, the land shall be shared amongst those who work it. Appetite. She does not have an appetite in getting a garden, what. So all those who are working the land should have equal share of the wealth that comes out of that. Whether you are working in mines, at least you should get a decent wage. When the workers are saying we are fighting for a 14,000 because our company is making so much, at least they should be given those. We are saying at least share the land. We are not saying to take land of white people. Share the land.
Over to you.
Am I allowed to ask questions?
You're allowed to ask questions.
Can I just ask a question to my brother? Since we're on this economic empowerment. So ngokusithatha ezi resources sizinikiweyo lo olugcuntswana silinikiweyo. So my question is, how do we overcome le ndaba ukuthi kukhona ezi offices zithi zikhona imali for abantu abamnyama afuna ukwenza le nale. But now ufumanisa ukuthi nanku udinhle utyhoti umhle uyahamba uyofuna izinto pha. Now how do we overcome as exploitations? Kwezi offices zine resources suppose siyazifumana, but udinhle uyonqonqoza pha kuthiwe dinhle kaloku before ndikunike okanye ndiza kunika. Number one, it's either kuthiwe masiqhekezelane kubona xa uyifumene, okanye kuthiwe kaloku khandibone pha kwa room 15 apha ehotel eSummerstrand. So what is ukhongolozo okanye what is your point of view wena, and what are you doing to overcome ezo challenge so that udinhle does not have to say if kuze ndifumane le mali kuthiwa ikhona funeka ndiye roomini amathi ndiye roomini mos qha ndiyazi uba ndizazitshaje I'm self-employed pha kwa room 15.
One, we are saying to Dintle, do not keep quiet when you are victimized.
Okay.
Shout out, go and report that because it's sexual harassment. It's wrong.
Yeah.
Go and report it to the police station.
Yeah.
Us, as activists, true activists, we're going to side with you.
Yeah.
As to the innocence of the person accused, it's going to be declared by the courts of law. Otherwise, we will say we believe you as a victim. So, South Africa does have a constitution that speaks against that conduct. Because it's also, yes, as I said, it's what we call sexual harassment, and it's against the code of conduct. I'm pretty sure all the workplaces in South Africa, be it government or private, they all condemn sexual harassment in the workplace, or any other place or some sort. So, Tina, we are going to side with you. The ANC, what does the ANC do? Whether you are reported for petty crime, as long as someone has reported you and there was a case opened against your name, the ANC has a clear policy that says step aside, because we don't want your conduct to tarnish our beautiful name as a liberation movement. So you are going to step aside up until you clear yourself in the courts of laws. So there is work that has been designed to fight against the attitude and behavior that CC or the conduct that CC is raising.
One last question.
Okay.
Are there, yabona office yakho councillor is a councillor that deals with the community as abuzibizile. Ikhona icandelo pha that deals with into okay xa abantwana beku community zethu bezonkqonkqoza besithi bhuti I have nansi business plan yami, I have this and this and this and this. Ikhona ioffice apho abantu bakwazi uziswa bancedwe to the right channels where they can access these resources?
So the ward councillor has a ward committee of 10 members. Those ward committees have their distinct portfolios. For instance, if we were to go back to the case that Mama was raising about sexual harassment, there is a designated portfolio that deals with women, youth, all those issues. There is a designated what she's raising now that speaks about economic development. You go to my office, you will find Unoganji, she's my assistant counsel. You find Umamu Billy, she's a cleaner and the security of that office. Even if the councillor is not there, surely Unoganji will record your name. Councillor, there was a specific person who goes by the name of Dimpo, who wanted to meet you with regards to some business idea that she has.
Yeah.
Okay, Unoganji, call her. I will be available in office at 11:30 on Monday.
Yeah.
She comes, we speak, I advise, there are NYDAs, there are that most of our young people, they don't know these opportunities and they rely on us as leaders. So also us as leaders, we have a responsibility, a mammoth task to go and equip ourselves so that you are well abreast about the issues that happen.
Yeah.
Because communities will come to you and report everything and we'll have to respond on the spot and advise them, give them clear advices.
Yeah.
That is happening in my office.
Okay. Just before we move to the next question, I would just like to know, since we are talking about economic empowerment, how can economic empowerment see link with the education system? How can we do that for our communities?
Sure. Let's go back. I like the point you raised. Yes, all of us from black townships
Yeah.
Those are the words we got from our parents.
Yeah.
So when you link education, education and economic empowerment, surely it must at least it's wrong, comrades. It's immorally wrong. It's immoral to have an unemployed graduate.
Yeah.
Because you are discouraging the entire community. Imagine if you went to university and you come back, we congratulated you, we clapped, you applauded you on Facebook, and the next thing you are seen roving around the communities. You are saying to that young girl that education cannot respond to the economic things, or rather to the economic challenges that I have at home.
Yeah.
So let me just go rather for the quicker or shorter way, shortcut.
Yeah.
Probably I go to I become a para, or also I'll join one of these guys, Twazi Gangsters, because they will give me quick money. And also there's that syndicate of selling drugs.
Yeah.
Because it has market. So surely now on my side, I would have, at least for graduates, if I was a president, if I had everything on me, I would have at least a basic income grant if you do not have resources for all those who are unemployed, especially graduates.
Could 350?
No, I'm saying basic income.
I see.
Basic income. So the minimum wage in South Africa is 3.5 for that, for an
3.5,
example.
yeah.
So it's insane to have a basic income grant that is below that.
Yeah.
Because you've set a minimum wage to say 3.5. You can't give that to a graduate.
Yeah.
When we give you that stipend of 5,000 per month, for an example, we expect you to at least to now begin to realize that you are in this condition and how do you channel a way forward?
Yeah.
How do you say, okay, how do I become an entrepreneur? How do I use this 5,000 to go and submit my CVs across South Africa? Not be limited in where you are.
To add on that, I also think ukuthi ezifundiswa eziphuma kwindawo ezifana nelokishi siyazifela ilokishi zethu. Because I'm thinking, my brother once said something, okuthi, indlela esifeyila ngayo, but I'm going to say, no, councillor le makhe siyicingele into. Because umntana, uyaphuma 6:30, ne? Leqe shuttle, Vista, ufunda let's say, ufunda South or North Campus, kwelaqana. Leqe shuttle Vista, uphuma 6:30. Classes zakhe, they run until, let me make example with the Brexit on Mondays. Sometimes they run until about 4, 5-ish. And the shuttle yokugqibela for that time is a Missionville, go 5:30. So meaning that they're still going to wait for a shuttles zipum. And then they need to travel from Summer Strand, to Missionville campus. And then from Mission campus, probably baza walk to get engine. Yeah, so let's say traveling time, it's an hour and a half, depending on Councillor yena, busy meeting of 5. And it meeting ezoxoxa indaba that are concerning the area yethu. Andikho ndisaphuma eklasini ndisezayolinda shuttle and it's Monday. So I think intsebenziswano iyadingeka as well. We need to invite abantwana bethu to these meetings and say be part of it. Because ngoku I think bekusupposed kwi-level apho even i-office ka-councillor can send umntana e-university ogqiba azo-interna apha e-ofisini. Esa skill asisebenzisa ayosifundela pha imali simnikile because ukwi-office ka-councillor and uprivileged because uzofumana loo ntwanana ye-budget azayifumana from i-state or the province, provincial office ye-ANC. And to say, okay, fine, elugcuntswana ndicela nje uthatha noba ngumntana oyi-1. Lo mntana ndimse universities ayokwenza loo nto ayenzayo. Then to pay back the money, because that's what i-company ezininzi, we need to adapt esasitele ze-company ezinkulu. To say, okay, fine, after lo mntana egqibile makazosebenza, because one uzawusebenza to pay back the money while I'm sending another one. But she or she is also gaining experience yale office, you understand? So that when she's done and the other one comes back to work in the office, at least yena une 1 year experiments post isikolo. So I think we also need to work as a community where i-offices zo-councillor nazo. But ayonto ezabasemagxini ka-councillor qha. Nathi as abantu abane-privilege yokuthi mababe exposed to ukuthi bayazi. Because I always say to abantu imali khona, but you just need to know where to go and what to bring to those people. Because right now where we are, if umnyama and you are a woman, that works for you. Because criteria yakho inipha phezulu uthathwa msinya yabo. So I think we need to come together with abo council and education and churches and stuff like we mentioned before and see ukuthi how do we now kule economy yethu inkene how do we chip in to make sure at least siyanceda umntana noba uyi-1 or 2 whatever siyenzayo.
Through that. Okay.
No, just to concur, just to agree with Usiswam, I would give you maybe at this challenge, maybe during the week, just go to any other office of the councillor of your choice. I promise you, that day when you go there, you would see these interns that she's speaking about. There's a school here, man. I forgot its name. It's in Costin. Because also, comrades, we can't think education also rests or revolves around university space. There are also TVETs, training and vocational They are also there. And also there are these designated for short courses. Now, there's a school here it's in Costin. But for them to get a stipend per month, they should be located in this CI. Thank you very much. There's a CI here in Costin. They have all of these councillors that are located in the townships. They accommodate those ones. You can come to my office. I don't know how many I've signed. I don't know how many I've signed. Like they go there. We give them work around the work of the council.
Okay.
And also I got from particular TVETs, many of people that know me that are even outside of my ward. Who called me to say, I need to graduate. For me to graduate, I need an in-service training. And for me to be accommodating in your office, I would get this qualification. Could you please accommodate me? We've signed those things. So we have those stories to tell. And I thought I almost fell into a trap to say I was the only one that was doing it. No. If you can go to any other, I promise you, as long as it's located in the townships, but I don't know what his DA is doing there. But here in townships, it's us that are in charge and resolving these matters.
Okay, we are now.
I'm giving you that challenge.
And just to emphasize on what he has just said. we must not sleep on TVETs, because there's another thing that we need to educate abantwana bethu ngayo. Ukuthi certain skills uzifumana TVET to work in certain places. So masingaqaqambisi nyani all the time in university, because ufumanisa ukuthi sometimes unabantwana who I don't want to say academically challenged, but ufumanisa umntana akathanda ufunda, but uthanda uzibalela azenzela into zakhe. University zawufika ukunika incwadi engaka ithi funda. You are failing because you're not failing because wena awukho doma, awukho muncu, but it's just that when you are more into izandla zakho. Kanti they are because shame universities now phase out technicon. So now asekho ninzi into technical skills in universities. It's more now, theory, but zikhona sithi azikho, yabo. But ufumanisa ukuthi when you go to TVET, abanye abane-skill bafuna ukwenza izikills zabo ngezandla. Those are the so we mustn't sleep on when xa siqaqambisa imfundo, we must also siqaqambise ne-TVETs as well, and the training academies.
I like what you just highlighted now, so that uyazi uyazazi strengths zakhe ukudiphi. And kukho art schools, you can go there if ungumntu art, if ungumtu into media, you can go to a media school, and you can do music. It depends ukuthi into lento ugodi kuyo. I would just like us to go to Lenny question ukuba, how do we overcome educational inequities?
I think I've over-repeated myself on it.
Did you report? Did you?
Yeah, because it's the ones that I said. Inequity deals with inequality. In unequal society. Others, because remember, Utatu Tabombeki wrote a two-nation state thesis. To say South Africa is living in two nations, in one nation. There's a nation for the public and private distinction. Privates are affluent. You see model schools, C schools, and you can't compare Muslim talent. You can't compare Kwamaklak High School with the results of, let's say, collegiate. There's an inequity that exists there. For the mere fact that you can be 20 in class at collegiate and Kwamaklak, you run the risk of having more than 50 something learners in one class. I was at Kwamaklak High School. They run up to 11G, whereas if you go to town, they only end at 11C. And these inequities exist there. Music, they are being taught at high school level. You business studies, physics, maths, no. It's your education is only confined within the subjects, the school subjects. Even whatever you are being taught is taught to you or on a theoretical level and not practical. And I also went to Rhodes, by the way. We could struggle to study in the evening at Rhodes because we have ETSG, we have St. Andrews around. Those are high schools. And already they are even their tuition fees are expensive more than that of Rhodes. Rhodes is a tertiary institution, by the way. So you want to tell me today that secondary or high school, or because they call them colleges, can be compared to a school that exists in a rural area? It can't. It's not existing. How do you end that? Probably we have to have but it's a vision of Marxists and communists that we need to arrive to a point of a classless society. It's not going to happen tomorrow. But as long as we are going to commit and understand its destination, that you are all driving there as a country and a republic and as a people, it's possible. It can even happen shorter, or China has done it. China has done it. China, we can use China as a
kind of reference.
As a case study.
Would you like to add on that, Doctor?
Okay, now.
You don't have anything.
Maybe I'll remember.
It's very important. Yes, as long as you like I don't know what to say now. Okay, I don't have anything to say.
Have an opinion on it.
I would just like us to say, just to ask this question just before we close. We have, I think, 5 minutes left. What advice would you give to young people trying to balance academics and social responsibilities?
So she captured me.
Okay. Trying to balance. One thing that I think abantwana bethu we need to teach is that as you get older, nomthwalo uyanyuka. Because abantwana bethu are so accustomed to yonke into, bayaphathelwa. But ufumanisa ukuthi now they can't survive now when they go to as the institution of higher learning. Ne? It's difficult. It's difficult. So now what I can encourage you is like, don't give up.
Don't give up.
And be arrogant. If you have to be arrogant for isiqu sakho, be arrogant. As Ubudu was saying that, it's so sad ube ne class nyan ufumanisa ukuthi kukho abantwana basuka kwezi zikolo zabantwana abayi-5 grade 12 nabantu abayi-5 eklasini wena benifunda nibaninzi. And ufumanisa those kids what they do is that they're serious about imfundo yabo. When they go to university they don't pay. Umuntu uyafika eklasini ufika sebehleli pha eklasini. Abahlalanga back, bahleli up right in front of you. They make you nervous when aqala as umuntu obafundisayo because they are staring at you and they are saying ukuthi, okay, we want to hear. And there was something that abafundisi abathanda says ukuthi you must always have a teachable spirit.
Yeah.
Abantwana, they always have a teachable spirit.
Yeah.
It's such a shame that abantwana bethu ufika because they're so, ezasikolo kuthiwa sometimes abantwana mabangenzi week asibasolo mem because ufika ulingana nabo sometimes baqale bakudelele ne ufike sometimes you are so nervous eclass mhlambi uzofika ne-English yakho in those first sessions shake sebeqala ukudelela like it's gonna be the whole. So I think abantwana bethu mabachinje attitude siqale up.
Attitude.
Please chinjani attitude because all we want is for you guys to have a better future than ourselves. Yabo. So what I would encourage to umntana is that be selfish about yourself, be intentional about your future. Learn ukuncama zonke izinto. Dating ayibaleki, alcohol ayibaleki, having fun ayibaleki, i-week ayibaleki, i-Dubai ayibaleki. So many things. If you want to do BBL whatever, ayibaleki. But if uzixelele wena ufuna imfundo, ofuna ukwakha ikamva lakho ngale ndlela through imfundo, then you have to sacrifice and leave everything out. Be teachable. Xa usiya university, hlala up. I always say to abantu, I used to say ebantwini, if ukhetha course ozayifunda, khetha lena abantu abamhlophe. Even if uzaba nguwe wedwa, khetha lena abantu abamhlophe and khetha ne-companies eziziqesha abantu abamhlophe uzayibona. Ikhona i-BEE status at the end of the day uzongena. Yabo. So if umntana omhlophe uhleli pha, amabohlala pha kulanda ahleli kuyo. Yabo. Because you are intentional ufuna imfundo and ufuna ikamva eliqaqambile. So zigqatse. Ba forward zigqatse ududike. And learn to ask questions. There's no stupid question. Learn to ask questions. Ask as much as you can, but be selfish about yourself. Uzigqatse and uyeke zonke ezinye and focus on lendo utufuna uyenza.
Wow. Councillor, would you like to add on that?
Yeah, please repeat the question. I thought I
Okay, it's what advice would you give to young people trying to balance academics and social responsibilities?
Okay, no, young people have to build networks whilst at school.
Yeah.
Because out there it's a matter of who knows who.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to build a network whilst you are still at school. And also as a young person, you need to be responsible, man, from your communities.
Yeah.
It can't be that when we patrol with their parents or with our parents, we only do it with 77, 67-year-olds. The responsibility to do community policing forums or to join patrol security things. It rests upon young people. So young people should form part of CPFs. Young people should form part of clinic committees. Young people should form part of e-ward committees. Young people should be active. Young people should champion societal struggles. Young people should champion community protests, guide them, provide necessary guidance such that they are not tend to be a criminal activity.
Yeah.
With one thing, knowing that when you commit mob justice, it's a criminal activity. You need to provide direction to our parents. Our parents were denied education by apartheid government because it introduced Africans as a medium of instruction, such that our parents were not equipped and abreast or in a position to understand Africans. So they were denied opportunities to go study. Now the ANC government has signed a Bella Act that gives you a choice to be taught in the language, in your home language. So you have nothing to run away from. Education. The doors of learning have been opened. Utilize them. Capitalize on the education, on the opportunities that exist for young people. Because people that are 36 going upwards are always complaining that South Africa or government always bring these opportunities for people that are younger than 35.
Yeah.
So you capitalize on that. You can't be given opportunities and then you just ignore them like that.
Wow, profound. I would just like to say thank you so much for honoring our invitation and sharing your knowledge with us at Penwell Fellowship. Kindly note, we're at corner of Strandale and Spondo Street. The name of the church is Penwell Fellowship. Namhlanje besithetha about education and community empowerment. So no Mr. Peter, Councillor Ward 28, no Dr. Mahanjana. So kindly do comment, share the live stream. You can also follow them on their social medias for encouragement. I do believe they are on Facebook, correct? You can find them there. Itike indo yanga I just want to share something before we close. It's that season again. It's an Salt Conference 2025. I hope you're excited. The theme yet this year, it is dunamis, outpouring of power. It's 26 January until the 2nd of February 2025. Ixesha 6 o'clock, sharp on the dot. We'll be having Pastor Mlamla, Pastor Ojara, Prophetess Tukwayo, Bishop Mangaso, Bishop Ntloko, but most importantly, God will be here. I don't know what you need this season. I don't know what your heart desires is. I don't know what season you are in, but I'm here to tell you, good, you shall never have an encounter with God and remain the same. Ndizawuthi ke yangamdomcha umfumana uThixo safumaneka. Usahlele esihlalweni sakhe sobukhosi uyabusa, same time, same place next week.